and welcome to Hammer Time. I'm your host, Jace Hinton, and joining me, Isaiah Johnson. Zaya, how you doing, bro?
Doing great, man. Just got off work right next door. How you doing?
Sir. Oh, living the life out here in Utah. You're still in Albuquerque, correct?
Yes, I am.
So, Isaiah, we're just gonna jump right into it. Zaya, tell the people about yourself.
So, I'm a senior. Just finished up playing football at Highlands. I'm trying to start my career off. So, trying to get into the podcast business, trying to get into the radio business, just kind of trying to learn as much as I can. So, hopefully one day I can, reach a level where I'm able to host my own radio show, maybe host my own podcast like you. It's currently in the works right now. So, that's what the goal is right now.
Yeah, and Isaiah and I worked together at the sports information department at Highlands. We got to know each other. Actually, it was kind of funny. Over Christmas break, our boss, Mr. Fred Slow, Fred, howdy partner. I know you watch these. He texts me and he goes, "Hey, Jace, I know you've been writing the basketball pre-games, but there's a guy that wants to write them. Is that okay?" Yeah, whatever, just have him send them to me because you couldn't publish them at the time. So I was like, we're coming back from break, and I'm like, I got to meet this guy that has been writing these post games instead of me. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, whatever. I meet him. Isaiah's a great guy, obviously. And then we worked baseball and softball together. We had some pretty good times.
Yeah.
So, it was really fun working softball with you, except for when your girlfriend pitched, because then Zaya's sweating bullets, running PAs, all shaking and everything. But he's started his own. He's going to get the podcast going. Zay Talks, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the podcast, what it's going to be about.
So, anybody who knows me knows I'm all Cowboys, all Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my teams, and to my benefit, those happen to be some of the most popular teams.
Yeah.
Very easy to talk about them year round. So naturally, that's probably what the baseline will be, just because I'm a fan of those two teams. But I would expect myself, just because I love to talk and I love to talk about a lot of things. I'm sure, some podcasts I might branch off into some things that are personal, of course, current events and things. I don't want to ignore the things that are going on just because I want to talk about my teams. But, if you're a Cowboys or Lakers guy, this would definitely be the spot to go. That's where I'm starting off at. And, as you'll see from some of the podcasts, it won't be just too strict on sports. If I can give some advice or, a little light into my past about something, I'll definitely do that too. So I'm excited to get that going and get a feel for just talking and, finding my own self and see how that will go.
Yeah, I love that, man. And, when I first started this podcast, I was like, it's going to be straight sports, talking to athletes about their journey and whatnot. And then Kendall and Rhonda came along, and I was like, what? Expanding this would be kind of cool, and I'm going to have a teammate of mine on here in the coming week, and we're going to talk kind of just his journey and whatnot. So kind of back into the, obviously talking to you, the content creator life that you're entering is insane. Mm-hmm. But and you come to me, we talk a lot, so we kind of know what's going on, and any advice that you can give in that world is insane. Obviously. So the content creating that you're doing now, did you ever think that this was where you were going to go with it?
Yeah, honestly, I'd love to sit here and say no, and a door just opened. What I can say is that it came a lot quicker than I expected. Mm-hmm. The opportunity came a lot quicker than I expected. Fred, we talked about earlier, Fred got me a job here at Cumulus. And, even then I didn't know that this was in my future until I was talking with my boss here, Jared Hart. And he just told me, casually told me, we have a production room where people do their podcasts. And I asked him, so if I ever want to do a podcast in there, can I? He's like, oh yeah, sure. You can use it whenever. So in my head, I'm like, this might be the time now. This might be the time now. I just stopped football. So there's nothing stopping me there. There's no excuses for me to wait any longer. And I've been telling my friends since I was in high school, if you put me on first take, I could carry. you know,
Yeah.
I could hold my ground on there, and I could not only with just the information, but just how to carry yourself, how to, you know, debate and things like that, and what angles to take. I've always felt, you know, ready for this. And I feel another big sign of being a future podcaster is when you feel like you're talking people's ear off a lot. And it's like, you know, I might be able just to talk into a microphone for 45 minutes to people who care, other than talking everybody's ear off.
Yeah. No, I mean, and, you know, it was kind of crazy when, you know, I first met you, you know, we could bounce sports all day off of each other. And it was like, man, this is, you know, and when I saw that you were going to do the podcast, I was super hyped because wherever you go with that podcast, if you're going to talk sports, man, you know, you can always call me and I'll always come on, man.
Sure.
You know, I'm going to start to expand this podcast to, you know, more sports, you know, maybe recording, you know, we'll see kind of what happens. Obviously in the fall, we'll see kind of where my career takes me and we'll go from there. But, you know, as long as, you know, you've got a plan, man, that's all that matters. I mean, and content creating business is, it's a big world. I mean, people know people who know people. I mean, I'm being contacted by other creators that, hey, I saw you on this guy's thing, or I'm like, what? Like, this guy posted this? I mean, you know, it's just, it's insane to see all the content creators out there now. And obviously you're not playing sports anymore, but with the NCAA, obviously entering the world of the NIL, you know, back in 2021, that was always, you know, that was a huge jump for all of content. You know, you could have athletes now who could create this content.
Yeah.
So, Isaiah, let's talk about, you know, your journey to Highlands. How did you get to Highlands? Like, how did that happen?
So, you know, coming out of high school, I didn't really take playing at the next level serious. Maybe until second semester of my senior year. And that's just from a reality standpoint. As far as an athlete, you know, I always in my mind wanted to be in the NFL. Ever since a little kid, everyone could notice that I was kind of bigger and like built, you know, kind of a bigger frame than most people. So it was always, you know, if you work hard enough and you put your mind to it, you could do this, or you could, you know, you could go far. So in my mind, I was always like, okay, well, because I'm big, you know, I'll be able just to lock in when the time's necessary and be fine.
Yeah. And,
you know, from a physical standpoint, I could arguably say that I kind of did lock in because I had a very good senior year. But, you know, I didn't take grades the most serious. And because of that, I went to a junior college. And when I was at that junior college, you know, I actually had stomach surgery. I had my gallbladder removed. I think it was a couple of days before graduation. And I walked, took my painkillers. I walked the stage. And I was told not to lift anything over 10 pounds for, I think it was a month or so. And I know at the junior college, there was a huge camp where a bunch of D1 coaches were going to be at that my junior college was hosting. And I figured I could go to the junior college with my grades. You know, that's what junior colleges are kind of for a lot of people, like that second chance. And I got my second chance, and I went to that camp, had a great camp, and I ended up getting, you know, a letter from Purdue, a school that I was really hype about, you know, the possibility of going to at the time. I'm thinking, whoa, you know, here I am. I didn't get any, you know, big looks out of high school, and I could go to Purdue here. And then, you know, that's not always God's plan, what you think it is. So, you know, a week after I get that letter, we have our first game, and I had a decent game. But then my second game, I go out and tear my wrist up. And not only did I tear my wrist up, but I think a week after that, the whole Purdue coaching staff was fired. So, So, you know, in the college world, when that happens, you can pretty much kiss it goodbye unless you're good enough to have the pick of the litter from your schools. So that happens. And when that happened, I kind of just lost, you know, all hope. And I thought that I would be done. You know, I let my grades slip again in junior college, and I thought I was done. And there's a couple schools like Sioux Falls that was willing to work with me. You know, D2, the D1s, you know, they were kind of scared of the grade issue. And I also didn't really have much film at defensive end. I was playing offensive line a lot.
Oh, okay.
And I'm 6'4", 235 at the time. So that's not really Division I offensive lineman that they want to see. So, it got to the point where even the schools that liked me at my spot, I was worried about getting in academically. And then Highlands comes along, and they had it was called Straighter Line. They had a program there that allowed me to do some credit recovery, and I somehow was able to get into the NCAA. And I thought I would have to go NAIA. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but when you're shooting for the stars, you want NCAA. So I was just happy to get that NCAA, and I had no visits or anything, man. And I came out. First day I came out to Vegas, I was locked in. I had already signed. So, coming from the suburb of Chicago, I was a little culture shocked. But it was cool, as time went on, I can't say I regret it. Can't regret anything that happened. I've met some great people. I met my girlfriend at Highlands. I met Fred at Highlands. Met you at Highlands.
Yep.
A lot of things, a lot of places I'm in, I wouldn't be here if I didn't go through this journey. So I would just say that just trust the process.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up getting here.
Man, I mean, they say this, there's an old saying that goes, my grandma says it all the time, everything happens for a reason. And whatever that reason is, you might not see it now. You might not see it next week. You might see it 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You've obviously have seen it. You've seen why it happened. And, sure. I feel like the people are going to see that too with you as well. So Isaiah, I know you're not going back to play football at Highlands, right? You're just going to school.
Yeah, man.
When did it kind of hit for you? Hey, you know what? I'm done. I want to start life now. When did that kind of hit?
That's a great question. So for me, there's 3 levels. It's almost like, like saying anything like a game or anybody who's really good or dedicated to something. You don't just finish them with one blow. Usually there's some resiliency there, and it takes multiple. And for me, it definitely took stages of realization. And I'll say the first one was the injury that put me out for the season, week 5 versus Black Hills. It's just one of those things, man, where it's like, every season I felt like I worked so hard to get to a certain point, and it was a roller coaster to get to that point. And then once I got to where I finally wanted to get, it was like I had it just enough to taste it, and then it was pulled from me, almost as if something was telling me that I'll give you the little bit of satisfaction as to what you worked for, but I'm not going to let it stay around too long, because that's not what you're here for. It's not what your purpose is.
Yeah.
So that just kept happening to me. And so while it's happening in one side of my brain, I'm realizing, maybe this isn't for me. But the other side, I hadn't proved enough people wrong. It's like I hadn't done enough to feel like I had accomplished enough. And then just realizing that, I was like, I'm not playing for the right reasons anymore.
Yep.
I'm not playing because I love it. I'm playing to prove people wrong.
Yep.
And that's a lot of added pressure on you that might not make you a better athlete. So, Black Hills was the 5th game of the year, and I got my first start week. That was my first start, actually. I had a really good game the past week coming off the bench, and the coach promoted me to starting. Now, actually, my first start was Adams State, and I had a great game versus Adams State. First start, we had a great game. We beat them. And then here comes Black Hills, and they were 5-0. They were undefeated, and we're coming into that game, the underdogs. I got my first start and biggest game of college so far. And, just waking up that morning, I felt flat, and it was really weird. I woke up, I felt flat, felt weird. Like it felt like the last day I was going to play. And I didn't want to embrace this, obviously, because, I got a game to play. But I'm like, something about this game, I don't feel that same fire.
Yeah.
And it carried into the game. Like, I managed to, continue to start the whole game, but I was being hard on myself because I felt flat. I felt signs like something's off. And then end of the game comes. We were up, I think, 6 points. They were trying to score. We were in prevent. They're no huddle offense, and I had been doing the same pass rush because I was told to contain. And the offensive lineman just dove right into my foot as soon as I stepped. And he dove into my leg as soon as my foot hit the ground. And, that caused like a hyperextend. And I never had an injury like that. And, I had to hit a front flip because I felt like my leg was going to snap. And then just by, natural instinct, I get up to run off the field. But like, as I'm running off the field, I just knew like, this is it. This is it. My season's over. I'm definitely not coming back this game. So it's just like, I've had enough of this, and I knew that was my first sign that it was it. And then last summer I was trying to lift, and I just felt my body not trying to spark the same way it usually sparks when it's time to get going. And my, I had bones that were still hurting and injuries that hadn't recovered yet. And I just knew, like, if I can't even get in the gym and get through an intense 2-hour workout, I know there's no way I can last through a season.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things, man. My body was just telling me it was done. And I don't want to embarrass myself or go out and be a role player. I always had aspirations of, I'm in it for it all. If I can't be myself, I don't want to play.
Definitely.
So once I realized my body wasn't recovering the same way I wanted it to recover, I was just like, I sent Fred an email. That's when I sent Fred the email that you were talking about. And that's what started that whole snowball effect, was me like, look, if I'm not playing, I got to do something. Yeah. So I sent Fred that email. He took me on board, and, to make a long answer short, to really make me finalize that I wasn't playing, it was the semester we had. Me, you, Fred, all the sports, just realizing that, a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to stop playing their sport and jump into something else where they feel like they belong there. And I was like, I'm not going to let this pass me by because I'm being stubborn with sports. So I'm going to go ahead and answer this call here. And I'm going to just, go with this as best as I can. And lucky enough, it's kind of paying off for me.
Hey, no doubt. I mean, like you said, Fred, you and I, we, there was times, you're picking me up or I'm picking you up, or, Fred's picking both of us up at times. I mean, it's a definitely an interesting world that we're in. And, for athletes, sometimes they, like you said, they try to be stubborn with the sport. I get it. I mean, I'm honestly facing that decision myself. My body tells me I can do it, but, I'm also in a really good place of being back, being in this sports world. So I will see what plays out in the fall. We'll go from there.
Oh.
So we're going to switch gears. Instead of talking journey, we're going to talk some real sports.
Alrighty.
Because that'll take a minute. We got Game 5 of the NBA Finals coming up.
Yeah.
Nuggets, Heat, Jokic, Murray, Gordon, Miami side, Butler, Adebayo, those guys. In your opinion, Game 5, the Nuggets are up 3-1. What does Miami have to do in Denver at the altitude? They've won at altitude, but now they're back in the altitude again, and Denver doesn't lose at home very often.
Yeah.
They're one of the best home teams in the league.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what does Miami have to do Game 5 to keep this series going?
They got to bring back prime Kobe, prime Jordan, and prime Shaq in order to take out Denver. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Their best bet is they have to hit their shots. They got to start off hot, because if Denver starts to smell blood, they're a team right now where if you watch them, every game you're like, oh, they won't keep making those shots. Oh, they won't keep making those shots. Yeah. But one thing that can allow a team to keep making those shots is momentum and belief. So if they get off to a hot start, it might be over early. Yeah. So not only does Miami have to get off to a hot start, they have to make sure Denver does not get off to too much of a hot start. And they have to try to manage and maintain whatever it is that's working for them. If they can get to that early, they have to maintain that through the game, because Denver seems like a team that when they come out of halftime, they're also relying on each other, and they're also confident in each other, that if you give them that time to go in at halftime and kind of reset, they seem to come back out like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Yeah. And we saw that a couple nights. I think it was Game 3 or Game 4 where it looked kind of iffy, and then Denver, boom, comes out and puts the foot on their neck again.
Yep, Game 4.
And is it Game 3?
I think it was Game 3. Yeah, it was Game 3, because Game 4, Denver just, I wasn't able to watch Game 4. I was kind of following it along. I was actually following it along in the dugout while we were playing. And then my coach looks at me and goes, Jace, we need you to go to third. I'm like, yeah. He's like, no, Jace, you need to go to third now. I'm like, oh, all right. So I'm headed out there. But, I was kind of following it along the best I could. And Denver just dominated Game 4 from start to finish, Denver dominated game 4. Game 3, like you talked about, it was kind of like, oh man, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Like Denver's, it's tight, and then Jokic, Murray, they get those guys reset and they just win.
Yeah, dude. They remind me a lot of, I know everyone's been kind of saying it. They remind them of Dallas, or Jokic reminds them of Dirk, making those comparisons. But I remember watching that playoff run, and those Mavericks they swept my Lakers with Kobe, Gasol, and Bynum.
Yeah.
Fisher. They swept the squad. And then they went and beat Miami with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh in 5.
Yep.
And it was one of those things where, you're looking at a team, it's like they're just not missing. The team's not missing. It just seems like they're playing with game sliders on. And it seems like no matter what another team does, they just kind of absorb it all and keep fighting back. And it was enough for Jokic. But for Murray to be hitting these shots and getting 30-point triple-doubles with Jokic is crazy.
Yeah.
And then you got Gordon to come in. That's really what makes it over. You got those two, and then if you have a third guy that can come in and score 27, and it's like any break down the paint, he's yamming it. It's a problem.
I mean, it's crazy to see Aaron Gordon's growth from where he was good in Orlando. I'm not saying he wasn't good in Orlando, but he's kind of getting a little bit of that revenge for Dwayne Wade for giving him a 9. But, you also look at that and you also go, he was good in Orlando. He was just in Orlando, and Orlando recently in the league. Any Magic fans that watch this, I'm sorry, but y'all suck. Y'all are terrible. Orlando is just bad right now. I mean, as is. You might get Bronny and LeBron. There you go. There's your one title and you're done. But, so, okay. I like that. And we kind of talked about how Denver has to win it, so I won't ask you that question. Denver just has to play Denver basketball, basically.
Exactly.
Isaiah, let's talk a little NFL. I know you're an NFL guy. We're going to talk about the biggest move of the offseason, I think, in Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
The Jets. What do you expect to see from the Jets this year?
I expect slow start, hot finish.
Okay.
I expect, in Aaron Rodgers' history, he might start off slow, but then, he's got this quote where he says, relax, and if you go look historically, when they might start off 2-3 or 2-4, and everyone's in his face like, Rodgers, what's going on? He says, guys, just relax. Then he goes and knocks off 9 straight wins or something like that. And I could see that happening with these guys. I don't think Rodgers is washed. I'm a big Rodgers guy.
Okay.
As we said earlier, I'm a Cowboys fan, so we don't have the right to speak down to Rodgers.
And Dez caught it, so that's there's that.
He definitely did. He definitely
caught it. I mean, come on.
But back to my point, even then, Rodgers had that game in the bag probably. I think even if he catches that, Dez got there's 4 minutes left on the clock. And we hadn't stopped Rodgers all day. And I think that Rodgers, mentally he's got a big, amount of weight off his shoulders. I think he's happy to be on the Jets. It's obviously the team he was saying he wanted to be with.
Yeah.
We'll see, man. He's got a great running back, which
Brees Hall.
Packers will make the running backs look decent, but I think that was to Rodgers' credit. But the running back he's got over there in New York is a real good running back, Brees Hall.
Brees Hall, came out of Iowa State, great back. And they added the weapons that he wanted, minus obviously Odell going to Baltimore. But I didn't really see Odell going to New York anyways.
Yeah, no.
I kind of saw him going to play in Baltimore with Lamar and everything going on there. I know Odell has good connections with Lamar, so I didn't really see him going to Green Bay.
Yeah.
Or not Green Bay, New York. But, they added Allen Lazard.
Yeah.
They added Randall Cobb, who were 2 of his favorite targets, obviously, other than Devontae Adams in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Over his career historically. Jordy Nelson, he was another favorite, but, he's out the league. And then you also have they added, their defense is good. Quentin Williams, and then everybody loves this guy, Sauce Gardner. I mean, that guy is the most lockdown DB since probably Dion.
Yeah, he was ranked first.
Yeah.
He was ranked first in the PFF, and the Jets' defense was 4th.
Yeah, I think he is the most lockdown corner in the league since probably Dion. When he was in Dallas, maybe.
Pat P?
Yeah, Pat P in his early days. See, and I'm a big Darrelle Revis guy. I love Darrelle Revis, but I think Sauce is better than Revis Island. I really do. I really do.
Hey, he's young. He's
Yeah,
young. He's off to a
young.
great start. He's off to a great start.
Yeah,
So
I think he has the potential to win Defensive Player of the Year. Not rookie defense. He's done. I think he could win the DPOY.
Gets that, you can give him that title.
I think I would.
Defensive Player of the Year as a corner is crazy.
It's insane. I mean, he's just a lockdown corner. Guys would go into New York, balling out, not have a catch. It's like, I mean, he locked up. I think he locked up. Was it Jamar Chase one week?
He did.
Yeah, locked up Jamar Chase. Nobody even thought that was possible at one point in time.
Yeah, this is a
fact. Let's stay in the AFC South. Right there, the South. Yes, I had to think. Sorry. Do the Jets win the South, or where do they finish in the South? Because you got New England, you got Miami, who just made a big move, or are going to make a big move on Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
And then you have the Bills, Josh Allen. I mean, you can't forget about Buffalo. I mean,
yeah.
Come on, they got Josh Allen. He just throws it 50 yards downfield and says Diggs is somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think? Do they win the South, or are they one of those wild card teams?
I think they get wild card.
Okay.
Bills will win it. Jets will be second for sure.
Yeah.
I got them second, but I expect, like I said earlier, I expect the end of the year.
Yep.
The Bills are going to have to earn their money. I think the Jets will start off slow, they catch fire, and we'll see. Josh Allen, knock on wood, he's a Madden cover.
Yeah.
They need him.
Yeah, they're gonna need him.
He's a big boy, so he can handle some some pain and some hits. But I think Buffalo's got it. Buffalo would still be my pick. Maybe I don't know. I wouldn't say over the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think they're better than Miami. Miami, you can't sleep on them either. Who knows?
No.
We really don't even know how good they are yet.
Yeah. And, they added Jalen Ramsey to the secondary.
Yeah.
The question, I think, for Miami, even if they add Dalvin Cook, what's Tua's status?
Exactly.
Tua has been open about, I've thought about retirement. And, I'm a big college football guy. People that know me know college football is my jam. I watched Tua at Bama. I said, Bama, he's good, but he plays at Bama.
Yeah.
And here's the problem, and I'm not hating on Bama. As much as I don't like the University of Alabama, the thing about Alabama quarterbacks is they don't always do well in the NFL. Jalen Hurts obviously is doing well, obviously, but he also played at Oklahoma. You also look at, in the past, A.J. McCarron, big-time QB, fell off in the NFL. Mac Jones, he's doing all right in New England, but New England's kind of a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah.
And then there's Tua, who obviously the injuries and, on top of that. But if they can keep Tua healthy and Tua clean, I think Miami, and they add Dalvin Cook. I think they have to add Dalvin Cook. If they don't add Dalvin Cook, Miami's in trouble, because then all their offense is Tyreek, Waddle, Gesicki. Which, not that that's a bad offense, but you got to be able to run the football, and you can't have Tua running it, because Tua's going to get hit, Tua's going to get hurt. You can't have that.
And just like what you just said, not only can you not have Tua running too much, but just having a good running game. Yeah. It's a lot of people know this, but I can say it also just because I played defensive line.
Yeah.
When you're worried about a guy running the ball, it changes the way you get off the ball, because if you know that a team's going to pass, you can just get in a sprinter stance and go. But when you're worried about a running back, also, you have to get in your gap. You have to wait. You have to make sure you're not shooting up field and opening up gaps. So if you got a good running back there, that's going to slow down that pass rush a little bit, and guys aren't going to be able just to come headhunt Tua, and they're going to have to stay true to their gaps a little more.
Yeah.
And then you get that running back, a defense is now worried about stopping the run. So now not only does Tua have more time in the back, in the pocket, now Tyreek and Waddle get a chance to use their speed and get downfield.
Yep.
So a running back can really make that whole thing go. So they definitely need that running back.
Definitely agree. So now, we'll talk one more topic, and then we'll do the rapid fire questions. We'll get you out of here.
All right.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Mm.
He's a free agent.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook, also soon to be a free agent.
Yeah.
They could be the next two biggest moves. I still think the biggest move of the offseason is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The guy,
for sure.
Everybody was covering Aaron Rodgers. So with D-Hop, the last time I feel like D-Hop was D-Hop, where it's like, this guy's insane. Obviously I follow NFL football because, fantasy football is kind of my thing. I'm just saying. D-Hop, where do you think D-Hop can go back and do what he did in Houston, which was when I feel like D-Hop was in his prime? Cleveland's been talked about, which I don't personally don't think Cleveland. Dallas has been in the mix, but I don't think so because CD and Gallup and
Cooks now,
and then they added
Schoonmaker.
Yep. And they obviously lost Dalton Schultz to Houston. But and there was talks that for a while he was a free agent, or while he was, on the trade block from Arizona, that Denver was going to trade Sutton for him, but I don't think Russell Wilson's really that bought into that. I feel like Russell Wilson would rather have Dalvin Cook and Javonte Williams and then have his regular receivers that he's had. I don't know. Where do you think D-Hop can go beat? And New England, that's another one that's been thrown around.
That's what I was going to say.
And Kansas City.
Yeah. So I was going to say those two. New England and Kansas City. Obviously, if I was being realistic, if he was to go to Dallas, I'll, of course, touch on that just because you threw it out there.
Yeah.
If he was to go to Dallas, as far as production, he may not have the same totals, but I think his averages would maybe be back to prime numbers. I think he would have huge splash plays, compact touchdown year, but you may not see the amount of catches just because CD's a young bull, and I think CD will lead the team in catches, of course. But man, if he went there, that would be the team. I think they would be the best team. Maybe Kansas, outside of Kansas City, who I can go to next. I think if he goes to Kansas City, he looks like prime D-Hop.
Okay.
He looks like prime D-Hop just because you have a quarterback where even if he's not always open, he's going to put that ball somewhere where a guy like D-Hop can catch it. As we saw in Arizona, Murray, all he has to do is throw that ball in the air deep for Hail Mary. He caught over 3 people. I think it was more than 3 people.
Yeah.
He caught that Hail Mary. So I think you get a guy like Mahomes who will take that risk, give you that chance for that spectacular catch. I think the team's consistent enough. I think D-Hop wants a team that's consistent, knows what they're going to do, knows what they want. So I think that's where you go, Kansas City, New England. And with New England, that's just going to make or break Mac Jones' career there. You don't get it done with D-Hop, how much better can we get?
Yeah.
How much better can we get at that point? So I think he would have to be willing to buy into Mac Jones to go to New England, because outside of those two, does New England really have that many weapons, or are they just more like that oiled machine that's just awful?
And that's one thing that I wonder. Yeah, D-Hop, Kansas City, it all makes sense with Mahomes. But Kansas City has a ton of weapons. Obviously, they also, and New York added this guy, which I didn't even mention, McCole Hardman.
Yeah.
He's in New York. So they lost Hardman, you add D-Hop, whatever, but Mahomes, the biggest weapon in Kansas City is obviously Travis Kelce, which does D-Hop want to go be weapon number 1? Or is D-Hop, and this is not, every athlete I feel like does this, is D-Hop ring chasing at this point? Is he chasing a ring? Does he want that ring?
I think he's ring chasing. I think if you look at some of his quotes, you kind of see that, because he's already kind of said, like, I'm not money hunting here. I'm willing to take a pay cut. Especially back when the whole D-Hop trade to Dallas before they got Cook's talk was like huge. And he was just saying, like, I don't want much. Like, I just want to win.
A ring.
So, I don't know. You're not winning in New England. I'm sorry.
No. Not in that division that we just talked about. I mean,
no. You're not winning.
I think Sauce locks him up. I think Jalen Ramsey could lock him up.
Yeah.
Buffalo, their
Put him in
DBs.
Buffalo, man. Put him in Buffalo.
Oh yeah, with Diggs on the other side, that also could work because he wants to win. Exactly. Buffalo's been there; they just haven't been able to get past the inevitable, obviously out of the AFC West, which that division is painful to even look at right now.
Yeah,
they can't get past Kansas City. Nobody can get past Kansas City. Denver
Somehow.
Can't, LA can't, the Raiders can't, and then they get in the playoffs, and it's like, uh-oh, here we go again.
Yeah,
I mean, Kansas City could go 9-8 on the year, make it in the playoffs, and everybody'd still go, shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what?
You're right, dude. Kansas City, I think just from seeing how they got rid of Hill and still managed to be a juggernaut like that, you add D-Hop.
Yeah.
They just won the Super Bowl, man.
The other thing I wonder, and, we'll touch on this a little bit and then we'll go. But the receivers now, it's not about big body receivers go up, throw up, and go get it because the DBs have gotten bigger.
Yeah.
The DBs you got guys that are 6'3", 6'4", covering these tall wide receivers, whereas before it was like 6'1", 6'2" was the best you got.
Exactly.
And, you had receivers, and we've seen it. Julio Jones, he's done because of the era we're in. D-Hop, he's a big body receiver. He's done. Diggs is a big body receiver, but he's also got speed.
And he's got route running.
And he can his route running is amazing. Jamar Chase, he's quick. Tyreek, Waddle, in Denver, you see Sutton, he's a big body, but Jerry Jeudy, that's their guy. Jerry Jeudy is a quick running receiver. Obviously, all those guys I just named have one thing in common. That's called the SEC. Yeah. And then, Jettas, that's the other one. But you see, it's now an era of football where it's all about speed and not size and power, which can work for some people. I just think Bill Belichick is a power guy. So I think that's why England makes a little more sense for D-Hop.
For sure.
Especially if he wants to be that wide receiver one, that weapon one, because he would be. But that division's insane. Whereas you could go to Kansas City and you've got the division on lock. Denver could have an amazing year. Maybe year two, Sean Payton turns that ship around. You got Mike McDaniels in Las Vegas with Jimmy Garoppolo if he's healthy, and then you've got the LA Chargers, Justin Herbert. They obviously added. He was the OC in Dallas.
Kellen
Moore. He's now the OC in LA. With Austin Eckler and, Williams and Keenan Allen. LA is going to be scary, but I think Kansas City still has that division on lock. So that's just.
I hate to, because I'm an old school guy, and I feel like Mahomes makes people forget about Prime Rodgers.
Oh yeah.
But what I gotta say right now is that Mahomes he's definitely the commentators make you not want to admit it, but it's like if he's playing, dude, they got a chance to win it all every year.
Every year. He can play left-handed and still find a way to win.
Literally.
All right, buddy. Let's get into the rapid fire. We'll get you out of here.
Alrighty.
So just some rapid fire questions. What was your jersey number when you played and why?
I had multiple numbers.
Okay.
My favorite number was number 77 that I ever had. And that was because my favorite player was Tyron Smith.
Oh.
He was a left tackle for the Cowboys.
Okay.
And, just from a history standpoint, I felt like, I relate to him a little bit. And he was a guy that was like 260 when he went into college and left at like 305. So I just kept telling myself, I can put on weight like that. I didn't do it because I couldn't eat like how he eats. But he's my role model for sure.
Yeah, eating and gaining weight. Probably the hardest thing. I'm trying to do it myself. I think I just hit 170 the other day. I got back up there.
Okay.
Go Jace.
Okay.
My roommate would tell me that's terrible. So we got to keep working. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. So you might have answered this a little bit. Tyron Smith was kind of your idol growing up?
For football.
Okay. Outside of football, who was your idol growing up?
Kobe, man.
Yeah.
All Kobe. me and my dad, we love talking sports. But when we talk sports, he was LeBron, I was Kobe. So that's one.
Oh, okay.
But when we would talk sports, that would be when we would talk the most. We had a great relationship, but just how I am and how he is, we don't have to talk to be on good terms.
Yeah.
So outside
Makes
of sports,
sense.
So outside of sports, there wasn't the most, a lot of communication. So when it came to just learn how to tough things out, I would know he would just call me a girl, like a little girl, if I went and said I was hurting or something. And of course, that's the message. I understand the message, but the delivery wasn't always there for me.
Yeah.
So for me, just being a huge Kobe fan, dude, and just seeing how he would just always be hurt, but he would just go out and score 28 the next night, so we would just forget that he was hurt. And he fought through so many injuries, and not only that, but just he attacked basketball at a different level. He attacked life at a different level, just with his discipline and the way he spoke and what he stood for. And for someone like me, I knew I was so far away from that it just was like, man, I'm just gonna just day by day just try to be like this guy and shoot for the stars and land on the clouds.
Yeah.
So that was my mentality with him. So that was my guy, man. That was my guy.
I totally get that. You big Coke or Pepsi guy?
Pepsi, but really not a fan of either. But I have to go Pepsi if I have to pick.
Okay. Gatorade, Powerade.
Oof. Oof. That white glacier Gatorade is
okay.
I don't know. I typically will always grab a Powerade.
Okay.
But the best tasting of the two is that white glacier Gatorade. I've just overdone it so much. I don't feel the need to buy it anymore.
Oh my, yeah, I get that. Makes sense. If you could have dinner with any celebrity, any athlete, I think I know the answer to this. I think people know the answer, but we'll ask it anyways. Who would it be and why?
So because it'd be easy for me to say Kobe. Dinner with an athlete.
Or celebrity if you want.
Or celebrity.
I know this is a tough question because I think of like 12 when I
I'm trying to think of what would I want out the dinner. I'll go Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, okay. I like that. Okay.
I'll go Dwayne Johnson. Dude, just he wakes up every day. One thing I wake up and I struggle with sometimes is just waking up with the same motivation and the same drive and whatever motivated me when I woke up yesterday, it's got to motivate me the same way today when I wake up.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's mastered that. It's like I said, the same about Kobe, but just to mix it up, I could go the same route with him. He's mastered that. Just even when you succeed at something, never stopping, and just the study of the mind, exercising the mind, exercising the body. I think he could give a lot of tips. And, when I was wanting to play about a year ago, I had dreams of going to the XFL. If someone could tell me you could go to the XFL, meet the Rock for a year and then go to the league or go to the league now, would you choose? I choose XFL first, just to meet him and, have that motivation would be awesome.
Yeah. And a lot of people forget, they're like, hey, why is he running a football league? Because of how big he is? No, he played at the University of Miami. Yeah. He was part of, if people don't know this, and y'all need to go, if y'all don't know about this, go look at ESPN 30 for 30, The U. The U in the 80s was insane. They were the reason we have taunting and all those penalties.
Irvin.
You can thank them. You can thank the U in the 80s. You can thank all those fools. The one guy comes out of the tunnel in Texas shooting the shooting. Oh my! And then they're at Cal. They teabag the Cal running back. All that.
Yeah.
You can thank the U in the 80s for that one, kids. All right, Isaiah, we're gonna get one more, and then we're gonna get out of here, buddy. We'll ask this one. Is there like a cause that you think is important that you want to, bring attention to? If not, I got one more for you.
A cause. Like any cause, I can go
any cause. Yep.
Dude, I'm big on the preventing the sex trafficking, man. It kills me. I hate it. It's just one of those things where it's like trying to think about how deep space is. When you think about how many people could be in a tunnel somewhere or just underground, dude, and you know, it just sucks because you got parents that lose their kids. Like, you know, you got loved ones that just don't know where someone is. And it's like, it just sucks, dude. I can't imagine being in that situation. And if there's, you know, groups or people that are focused on chasing those guys down and ending that, dude, I'm all for it.
Yep. So let's ask one more, since you answered that one pretty quick. Is there like a TV show or movie series that you're binging right now?
That I'm currently binging?
That you want to tell the people, hey, you should watch this?
Not at the moment. I feel like I've set the bar so high with Ozark and Breaking Bad. It's like after those two, it's like, how can you get that same rush, you know, that same feel? And it's like, I've heard about Yellowstone, and I've heard
Yellowstone is one.
I've heard I should give it a try. So
okay,
there's part of me knows I need to jump into that, but the other part of me loves that there's still things for me to watch out there when the time comes. So it's
no doubt.
It's like putting money under your mattress.
Yeah,
you know, it's like I get to it. I know it's there.
Yeah, if I need it, you know.
Yeah, if I need it, I'll go. But I'm trying to occupy myself.
Heck yeah, man. All right, you know what? Thanks, Zaya, for coming on, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. People, there's a new Instagram coming. I'm making an Instagram for just the YouTube and the podcast. All my podcast info, all my YouTube info will be posted on there. Don't know what the name is going to be yet for the tag. So the next time we come back on the podcast, it'll be on here. I promise. Next podcast will be sometime this week. I'm doing 2 a week for the summer because I don't got anything else to do except play baseball and go to work. I finally got a job out here.
Yeah?
What's that? Umpiring.
Okay.
I already know that there are going to be a bunch of baseball moms that are going to be really mad at me, and I'm ready for it. Come at me. But you know what, Zay, I appreciate you coming on, bro. Y'all go check him out. Zay Talks NM, right?
Yes.
Your Instagram, Zay Talks NM. Go check him out on Instagram. Also go check him out on the good old Twitter. What's your Twitter?
King Johnson with 2 N's.
There you go. So y'all go check him out. Zaya, I appreciate you coming on. Everybody, we appreciate the support. And the next time you'll see me, there'll be a new guest because that's what Hammer Time's all about, baby. We'll talk to y'all later.
Peace.